What's up, everybody? Jason here with the Z Shop, and today I'm going to get back on the 08 LTZ. Last time you seen our video, we ran into some trouble with the jug that came off of the 08. It had some scoring in it. Let's see if I can show it here on camera. Yeah, like right, where's it at? Right there. A lot of just ring wear and stuff like that. So the owner decided to pull the trigger on a new jug, which is highly recommended since he's going to have a built top end, and don't skimp out on something that's a critical part in the build. So he purchased a Cylinder Works jug here. It's brand new. We're going to paint it, try to make it as close to the motor as possible. Put it in the oven for a little bit and let it get good and warm so the paint will stick to it. It's a little cold here, so I've done it before and it's worked out pretty good. It's just raw aluminum, so I mean it wouldn't rust if we didn't paint it, but it kind of would look funny just to mix color on it. Today we're going to try to get that done. We're going to get the new rings on the piston, put the piston back on the rod, and put the piston on the four-wheeler back on the rod, and then put our new jug down on top of the piston. And then that's going to probably be it because we're still waiting on valves for the head. I contacted the people that sold the valves, and they are still showing in California, but they reshipped it using UPS. Hopefully we'll get them here sometime next week. That's the projected date, is next Thursday, which is really bummer because I want to see this fully run, and the owner's probably wanting it back by now, but it's not in my hands. Hopefully we'll get some more progress out of it. That's the only thing holding us up. We got the valve springs in, we got the gasket sets in, we got the new cylinder jug in. What else? I'm sure there's some other parts that I've ordered and I can't remember. The timing chain, we already got it put in the four-wheeler that came in. The gasket cover, or the clutch gasket cover, we got it put in. We're just in a reassembly phase now. We're just waiting on one key component, and that's the valves. So, okay, so we got the new cylinder head here, or cylinder jug here, and we're just going to measure it, make sure it is stock bore before I proceed on painting it. It should be right around 90 millimeters. I think stock bore's like 89.6 or 89.7 millimeters. It's close. They just rounded up to the next number. Let's see. Let me get a better place here. Make sure that's 0. All right. Take your dial calipers here and get about center of the jug. Heck, I hit the button. I'll get it right one day here. Let me see. All right, now it's zeroed. Let's see. Yeah, it's about dead center. We'll check it. Yeah, 89.66. That's normal. We'll measure it this way here. Make sure we're getting the same amount of measurement. $89.6. All right, yeah, so we're good. This is gonna be the piston going back in. We got to put new rings on it. So what I like to do here is, before I paint anything like this, let me find it. To keep paint from sticking anywhere I don't want paint to stick, I just do a light coat of oil on it. Which you don't really want paint sticking right here where the head mounts, because that's where you have failure. We'll clean all this off after we get done painting. We'll put a little bit down here in the bore. That just ensures the paint don't stick to it. Let's see. Okay, so that's. I'll put a little bit on that. That right there will ensure that we don't get overspray on the head. And if we do, it'll make it a lot easier to get off Let's take this outside and paint it here. As you can see, there's snow in the background, so it's really cold today, and painting in the cold's no fun. So what I did was I took the jug and put it in my oven at about 185 degrees for about 20 minutes to get this aluminum nice and warm, so the paint will stick to it a lot easier, and it's going to take multiple coats. Yeah, so we'll try it out here and see how it goes. Oh yeah, paint's definitely sticking to that. And we'll do we'll do several light coats here. Make sure it gets even spread. It is cold today. So I got a little overspray on the head surface there, which is okay. It'll wipe right off. Yeah, this is gonna turn out really sweet, I think. Stand it up here and get the other side here. This wind's not helping. It's always windy here. So you got one little spot here. Gonna need some extra attention. Let's pull this back in here and let it get warm. Let that first coat tack up, because I know my garage is freezing and I'm freezing. Alrighty, we're gonna let that set for a little bit. I'm gonna get a rag and wipe that off real quick. Or a paper towel here. Need to hook my other light up, but that's all right. I got the fridge running here. Yeah, it's wiping off. Might have to get a little alcohol or something here to help it. Sure, that stuff soaked it up. It soaked the paint and oil right up. It appears. That's all right. No big deal. We'll get that overspray off. That's no problem. Probably need to hit it a little bit more oil if I repaint it. Oh yeah, it's turned out real nice. Got a little spot right here. I guess I got a little too much oil on it, and it kind of ran off. That's all right. Yeah, we'll let that dry for about 20 minutes, and we'll give it another shot of paint. And, should be done. The paint I'm using is Duplicolor's engine enamel, so it's really strong paint. It's good up to 500 degrees. I use this on a lot of engines. It's oil resistant. You know, you get any kind of chemicals on it, it don't hurt it. It's a good paint. I'm pretty sure it's the closest I'm gonna find around here to the color of the engine. It does look like it's an actual Suzuki color, and it's hard to find that stuff around here. But it's a cast iron color, so it's pretty similar in color. It'll match. It'll match a lot closer than bare aluminum. But yeah, that looks pretty mint. But we'll get that top cleaned off, no problem. Alrighty, since I'm going to be working on the piston here, I got it cleaned up from how it was. It was carbon covered. I'm going to put a new set of rings on it, since the last rings wore a cylinder out, so I'm pretty sure the rings are toast on these, which I always suggest anytime you take a piston apart or out of a cylinder, you might as well re-ring it. I mean, it's cheap insurance. We're replacing it with the Wiseco set. That's a replacement set for this actual cylinder, or for this piston. This is a 90 millimeter standard bore, high compression, 13.5-1. That's the advertised thing, but I'm not sure if that's with a 3-layer base gasket or with a single layer base gasket. I know a lot of pistons are based on a single layer base gasket, and LTZ400s use a triple layer, so that would knock the compression ratio down a little bit to about 12.8-1 or something in that area. I'm not real sure on that, but I know it's under 13, and you know, you can run this premium fuel on it. But yeah, we'll get these new rings slapped on here. Get this piston ready to go back in the engine over there, back onto the rod. And while we wait on that paint to dry on the cylinder head or cylinder jug, it gives us time to do this. So we're just pretty much multitasking at this point. That paint usually dries pretty quickly, but with it being kind of cold, my garage is probably about 55, 60 degrees right now, so it's a little chilly. I got the heat on, but opening that door out there to paint has really cooled it off in here. So we'll keep an eye on it. We're no rush. We got plenty of time. I'm gonna at least get another coat of paint on it, but we're gonna replace it with these rings here. So let's get started on this and see what we can come up with. Well, as I was recording here, I was just thinking I probably need to check the ring gap on these, and I was about to skip that step. So I'll have to wait on the other cylinder or the jug over to dry up a little bit more to do that. So yeah, sometimes, I mean, 9 times out of 10 the ring gap's gonna be right on out of the box, but you know, I want to make sure you know, you can have some serious problems with ring gap issues. So I was taking apart the top compression ring. Let's see, yeah, this one here came out fine. And then the second one here, I mean, with no effort, it just broke in half. So that ring was just waiting to break. The oil ring and the keeper rings there were really good. They seem to be in pretty decent shape. But yeah, that second compression ring there just snapped like it wasn't nobody's business. The wrist pin came out fairly easy. But yeah, we're going to check the ring gap here on these new rings with the cylinder jug here, and make sure we're spot on. If not, we'll have to fall them down just a little bit. Alrighty, after doing a little bit of math here with the Wiseco sheet that comes with it, this is what recommends the ring gap should be. Down here it says dirt, ATV, snowplow, or snow, personal watercraft. Top ring should be 0.004, and the second ring would be 0.005. Here's the example, like for the top ring ATV with 4-inch bore, multiply 4-inch by 0.004 equals 16 thousandths. So our bore here is 89.74 millimeters, or 3.533 inches. So the top ring will times that by 0.004 and gives us a measurement of 0.014132. So we'll break our filler gauges out here and see if we can get that. I think it's got a 14 millimeter or thousandths gauge. And then our second ring here, let me see, you want to times it by whatever the bore size is by 0.005. Excuse me. So that being 3.533 inches by times it by 0.005 would leave us with 0.017. So we'll do that real quick and see what we come up with here, and if I need to do any filing. Okay, how I do this, the top piston ring here should be this guy here. It's a little bit smaller. It's gonna be a little thinner. And let me see here. You always want there's little numbers on it. Let me see if I can, right here. And you want them pointing up towards the top of the piston. What we'll do is we'll feed this in here like this. There can be a little bit of a bugger to get in, but what we'll do is get this put in here like that. We'll take our piston here and turn it upside down and get the ring pretty much centered up, squared up so we can measure it. We'll take that out, and what we're going to be measuring is this little tiny gap right here with our filler gauges here. This one should be right at 14 thousandths. Let me see if I got that gauge. Let's see. Yep, sure do. So we'll take this gauge here and see if our piston ring's in usable order. Oh yeah, fits just like a glove. Perfect. Slight minimal resistance, that's what you want, but not enough, you know, to have resistance on it. Let me see if I can get you in here. You know, we'll take our 14 thousandths gauge here, and yeah, it glides right through it. You can feel a tad bit of drag, that's what you want. So that ring right there is perfect. So what we'll do is we'll take that one out like that. Oop. And set it aside. Don't get these mixed up with the old rings here. And then we'll take our second ring here. It's a little bit thicker. We'll collapse it and do it the same way we did with that first ring. It can be a booger sometimes to get started, but I've done this plenty of times. So we'll take our piston here and set it back on top of the ring. Give it a little push. Make sure it's all even. Yeah, just like that. Sometimes you might go a little far on it, but that ensures the ring is, you know, square in the bore. So what we're looking for on this ring here, with our measurements, 0.017 millimeters. So let's see if we got a 17. Yeah, 17. We'll take this guy here, if it'll focus. Yeah, the 17. And see if it'll fit. It may be a little looser because it's on the, it should, if we was to round up our numbers, would have been 0.017665. 18 should fit, but I have a little bit more resistance. But the 17 here probably will have a little more if the gap's right. So we'll take that. Yeah, and again, it fits really good. It has a little bit of resistance. That's what we want to see, but it's not enough for it. Like it takes a lot of effort to pull out the filler gauge there. So that ring right there is spot on also. You don't really have to check the oil scraper rings. So this set of rings is good out the box, and sometimes you get lucky like that. And you know, been Wiseco. Wiseco's a really good company. They put out quality parts. I would trust these in my machines. They're not as expensive as like the Calero pistons, or, you know, there's higher end pistons out there, but Wiseco is a real reputable brand that's been in the, you know, ATVs, motocross, you know, all that for years and years. As far as I can remember, since I was a little kid, I've always heard Wiseco. You know, Wiseco was the thing back in the day. But they're good parts. I'd run them in about anything if I had the option. So yeah, we'll get this on. The head here needs probably another coat of paint. We got to get that overspray off the top of it, of course. No big deal. A little bit of carb cleaner on a rag will take it right off. Let's get these piston rings on the piston. Get them set right here on the sheet tells you how to place the ring gaps and all that. So we'll get to it. Alright, so we'll check out these new gaskets here. Got them in, I think 3 days ago. These some good gaskets. They're Cometic, Comatec, or however you say it. Okay, I didn't know it came with that. I think it came with the tensioner or the exhaust gasket there, but that's always good. Base engine gasket, case gasket. Ain't no case gasket in that. Huh. It says a case gasket, there ain't no case gasket in it. HDUO race style exhaust and head gasket. I see a base and a head gasket, but I'm not seeing any kind of case gasket in there, unless they're talking about the tensioner gasket there, which we need to replace. Usually those don't really go bad too often. You can get away with taking them off unless they rip on you when you pull them off. But yeah, we'll go from there and see what happens here. We're waiting on that cylinder head to dry over there, or the cylinder jug, I should say. I always call it the head for some reason. I always think that's the same piece. But we're getting ready to slap the piston on. We need to put a little bit of engine lube here on it, on that wrist pin right here, and then we'll wipe the inside of the jug off with some 10W40, what we're going to use for brake-in oil, so the rings will slide through the jug fairly easy. But yeah, we're just waiting on that thing to dry. I put another coat of paint on it, and it looks like it's taking really nicely. So we'll sit here and wait another 10-15 minutes. I'll sit here and enjoy a Yoo-hoo. A lot of people have beer in their fridges in their garages, but I only have Yoo-hoos and waters. So yeah, Yoo-hoos are one of the best things made out there. When they're ice cold, they're so good. All right, a little update here on the LTZ. I got the rings put on a new rings on the piston, I should say. Got it in there, back onto the rod. A little bit of a tip: if you're ever going to mess with wrist pins and the clips that go back in them, let's see here if I get the focus. They go in there. Cover up your holes here like that with a rag or towel or something, because you don't want to drop that wrist pin down in the case. I didn't do it on this fooler, but I have done it in the past on others. And let me tell you, that was a lesson learned. But we're ready to put the new cylinder jug on it. And probably be about it for today. All right, a little update here. Got the new jug put on the Z400 here. It is a little bit of a booger. It's been a while since I put a new jug on and fight those rings, but we got it. Also, I went ahead and removed the choke cable here since it was broke, and we put a pull style choke on the carb. And then I went over here and adjusted, or really didn't adjust anything, but got the throttle. It seems like it's going to be a little bit smoother. The original complaint was that it was really tough on his finger when he ride, and he'd only ride about 10 minutes and his stomach would be really sore. So hopefully we got that squared away. I was looking at it, and I'm going to recommend a new air filter. I peeled this cool little lid off. I've never seen one like this. If anybody knows what this is, leave it in the comments. But yeah, this filter is a little dirty. You could probably wash it and re-oil it a couple times, but since we're spending this kind of money in a top-end rebuild, I'm going to highly suggest he replace that filter, because that filter looks like it's well past its due. I'd recommend a uni filter or something if he's going to run with a mesh type lid here for airflow. You get dust and dirt inside the engines, and it will destroy camshafts. Okay, to recap what we got done today, we spent probably, probably 4 hours down here in the garage. Most of the time we just piddling around, waiting on stuff to dry with the cylinder jug there, getting a fresh coat of paint. The paint I put on it, it was pretty close to what was on the engine. I'm pretty sure the paint that was on it was actually the stuff from Suzuki. You can buy the rattle can paint from Suzuki. Clearly that motor's been spray painted because of the caps that were painted over on the head and the timing plug there on the case. We're going to get a couple other things done to it off camera. like today, I fooled with the choke cable, removing it, and rerouted the throttle cable since the owners complained about the throttle being really stiff and hurting his thumb after about 10 minutes of riding. So I think I got that freed up. It was ran the wrong way, so maybe the cable was binding up, and I sprayed some dry lubricant down in it to, try to lube up the cable or whatever, just in case the cable was a little rusty. It wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't rusted, because the foiler's really dirty in spots it shouldn't really be too dirty. I mean, this foiler's probably seen the track because it looks a lot like clay dirt. But the owner of it, he's getting happy about it. He's in a better mood now that things are actually going forward on the four-wheeler instead of having to replace stuff. And I'll give this advice to anybody that owns a sport four-wheeler or a racing four-wheeler. If you're buying it used, be thorough with it, or get somebody that knows them, the four-wheelers, because you never know what you're going to get. Somebody can say, oh, it runs good, and yeah, it may run good, but you still don't know once you start getting into it, if you don't know what's been done to it or how long, if you ain't got paperwork on it. It's just it's hard to tell. It's a snake in a basket, pretty much. I mean, you don't know if it's got work done to it, like the owners say, or if it's if it's a turd. This one has good parts in it, but it was a turd. It had a good piston in it, a good set of cams. That's about it. Now it's going to have good valves, good valve springs to accompany those hot cams. Because if anybody knows LTZs, their weakness is the valves. The valves will snap. Let's see if I got an old head here. Yeah, this is right here's what valve failure looks like. Usually that's from hitting too high of RPMs. You can clearly see one of the exhaust valves is turned sideways and it beat the crap out of the piston. And when you find a used head, you get good journals, and then you get trashed valves. I mean, or you get a good head that has good combustion chamber where the valves are, and then you get up here and you have trashed cam journals. I don't know why the heads, when you look for a new head, they're like $400, $500 used. It beats the crap out of me. But anyways, like I said, though, if you ever get a used four-wheeler, be thorough with it. Because if not, you can sink into a lot of money. This Z here came in for valve adjustment and a carb clean. And it's turned into all new valves, a new jug on it, new rings, the whole 9 yards on the top end rebuild. And the owner's going to be really happy when he gets it back, and it's well worth spent the money. He told me when I started building on it to only put parts that I would run in it. And, the parts I got in my four-wheeler are a little bit more expensive than what he's put in his, but his parts he put in them are from reputable companies like Wiseco, Cometic, gaskets, just everything. I mean, I would run that in my machine. I have ran stuff like that in mine. If you got a little bit more money, I mean, you can go with bigger brands. But I would suggest, though, like I said, on a used four-wheeler, look thorough, because you may end up pouring a lot of money into it, especially a sport or a racing style quad. But other than that, we're still waiting on head stuff like the valves. We got the springs in, we got the head gasket, exhaust gasket. This thing is ready to go. We're just waiting on them daggone valves to get here. And I reached out to the company that shipped them, and they supposedly they canceled the shipment from the post office and put them on UPS. So we're waiting on the UPS truck to get here with them. After that, it'd probably take me an hour to reassemble the head. We'll do a video on that, and then we'll get the head back onto the piston. And then the piston will go, or we'll make sure everything's not binding up or anything. We'll get the timing set, get the valves in spec with them hot cams. I still need to do a little research on what cams series those are. I think they're probably stage 2, I think. I don't know if they're the old school hot cams or the new school hot cams, so we'll have to look into that. But yeah, other than that, we're starting to head to third base on this thing, and soon, after we get the head built, we'll be heading for home. So, stay tuned and enjoy the videos, because there's still going to be a couple more after this one. Then we'll venture on into the LTZ, my LTZ400, get some of the space cleared out in here so I can get it up in the air a little bit. And we'll get the we're going to split that case over here on the shelf and practice with it. I may build it, or I may just take my other motor off my Z and just disassemble it, since it's all there. The other one over there is not complete. So yeah, we'll get it together, and we'll get all that on camera. I'll probably branch off on another series. You know, we've been putting this as reviving 2 LTZ400s, but this one here, the yellow, my 03 one here has been kind of on the sideline. We've been more focused on the 08 here, because I don't really want to get stuff mixed up between this folder and that one. Because my table over here behind me is a mess with parts from the 08. But we'll get it took care of, and we'll make another series on that. But on the time being, we're going to sit here and wait and hang out for the valves to come in. If you like this video today, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment down in the comment section. Stay up to date by turning that notification bell on. Follow us along on these LTZ builds here at the Z Shop. We'll see you next time.